Hello and welcome again to another episode of Anime Splash. Now today we're going to be talking about an anime called Smile PreCure. And as usual we're going to have Ricky break down the plot.
Okay, so the PreCure series has actually been around for a while now, and this is actually their 9th season, with each season being a different continuity, detached from the one before it. And so this one with Smile PreCure, it's actually a pretty standard plot. You have these girls, they get magical powers and they use them to fight monsters. And there's some other stuff in there like they have the cute little animal thing, and it wants them to collect these cure decors and use them to save its world and whatnot, and revive its queen. But it's pretty pretty simple, standard plot. Nothing too complicated.
Yeah, so there you go. So one of those magic girl animes, and I'm just not really into those, so I couldn't really get into this one. I don't want to say that you gotta too overly generalize the genre, so I guess I'll talk a little bit about specifically why I couldn't get into this particular anime. Just some points I noticed. So yeah, so it's got that magic girl typical fare. Other than that, it's got the it's got that super duper hyper cute, super cute anime tone that you see in a lot of anime, with the big eyes and the sparkling and the super high voice, and everybody's jumping up and down, the happiness, and just all the clopping all the time. It's just can't get into it. It's just happy all the time, And then you have oh yeah, of course, and this is true for a lot of American TV shows too. Mostly cartoons, but I remember back when I was a little kid, TV shows used to do it. They had the monster of the week, but then American shows had the bad guy of the week, or that nemesis that you gotta beat every week, and it's not really too much of a story arc. It's just that the episode is centered toward them having to beat the bad guy. Then once they beat the bad guy, it's all good, right? And that's just a tired and true formula. It's been around for ages, and I kind of got kind of bored of that. This is obviously targeted toward little kids, specifically little girls, and you can tell because of the whole they put an emphasis on the makeup, and then one of their power items is like a mirror that they open up, and they got the little powder duster, and they powder their uniforms on them with the whole transformation sequences, which you see a lot in the magic girl type of genre. They get all dolled up like really cute dolls, and you can tell it really caters to that really little girl feminine fantasy world that a lot of girls are into when they're little kids. Yeah, that's why I couldn't get into it. They even got little messages, back in the day when you would watch, just throwing out some examples, G.I. Joe or Sailor Moon had the same thing, or even the old school shows. This show even has that, where it's like, sometimes it's about not giving up, or then, keep trying, or the power of friendship. Yeah. So those type of things. And, you learn that they would stick to that lesson, and then at the end they would use it to beat the bad guy, and so now that friendship is powerful, and you need to get some friends and stuff like that. So it's kind of almost like, man, I mean, this would go great with Nickelodeon, Nick Jr. and the PBS morning block was right next to Sesame Street and Magic School Bus. it would fit cool. Like Ricky said earlier, when we were talking earlier, is that they probably would cut out some of the fighting sequences, but the meat of it would still be there. One thing that was funny that I noticed, so it's 5 girls, that's typical, it's always the 5 members, right? And they introduced them at the very beginning, the first episode, but then they gotta join each episode each of the 5 girls figures out that they're one of these superheroes, and they slowly join the ranks of the PreCure, is what they call them. And it's like, man, you already know, and they gotta search for them, they gotta look for them. They don't know who they are, so like we gotta find them out and seek them. And it's like, well, I know who they are.
You can pretty much tell by the color of their hair.
You have the color of their hair, the theme song, the first episode where they introduce the 5 characters before they become superheroes. So you know, you're just sitting there kind of waiting, like, okay, I already know who's gonna join. Why don't they all just join the first episode? They'll all be cool, you know. But no, they wanna make it last. So I get it. It's just funny. Any other observations or?
Just, you know, I would say it's just, you know, it's really, for me, it's like, you know, it's actually a pretty fun series to watch. You know, it's sweet, it's sugary. You know, it's good to watch maybe something after you watch something depressing, maybe. But you know, and I actually ended up liking it a little bit.
Yeah, that's good. So you would continue watching it.
I mean, yeah, I actually watched the other 2 to see what the other 2 cures were about.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Because you already know they might as well.
Yeah, and the green one has super speed, and you know, the blue one is, you know, kind of cool. You know, she's like the smart one.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, it also introduces the other villains that they have to fight. There's like a demon that shows up, and a witch, because the whole thing has a fairy tale motif to it. So you get the big bad wolf, an oni, like from Japanese folklore, and you have the, you know, the ugly witch that's been in a lot of stories, you know, like Snow White and whatnot. So, and there's also like this clown guy that shows up, but you know.
Because that's like kind of a little spin to this particular Magic Girl series. Is you got the whole fairy tale thing to it, which they kind of they integrate that very well. I would not continue watching this show, but I am interested. Maybe I would actually watch the last episode, because a lot of times with these magical schoolgirl shows, the last episode is everybody gets their butts kicked. And like, you know, it's up to the last, the main character to fight through all this suffering and pain that they're going through, and then finally at the end, like, this miraculous thing happens where they all get together, even though maybe all of them are dead and they're all in ghost form or whatever. They power up and they defeat the bad guy. I always like seeing those are funny to watch. So maybe I'll just watch the last part, because I like seeing these super cute girls get these really intense moments getting beat up, and then at the last part, through their desperation overcoming adversity. It's kind of funny, but for the most part, no, I would not continue watching this show. If you're into magical schoolgirl stuff and you're into the fairy tales, folklore type of thing, you might want to give this a shot. You know, like Ricky said, if you watch something really depressing and you want to feel good about, you know, something that makes you feel good, this might be the one for you. Well, I hope you like watching this episode, and don't forget, you can always comment and you know, post even on our message boards on gzronline.com website if you want to talk or respond to what we've said. Until then, stay tuned to our YouTube channel and check us out next week on Anime Splash.